everybody, we are back with our Friday review. So glad you're joining me here today. Excited to share with you brand new product review, not just on blue light blocking glasses, but actually what's the difference between the yellow, the orange, and the red lenses? What time of the day should you wear them to put them on? How much blue light do they actually block? And for how long should you wear them? We'll cover all of that here today. I also have, of course, the Personomics tip of the week that you're not going to want to miss. This is a big one. And 2 new research studies, one specifically on aspirin and colon cancer reduction. Does it help or not? It's a common recommendation. Let's actually go over what a study looked at with over 124,837 participants to be exact. And then, of course, one more research study we always bring you to that I feel is going to be best for you, your family, your loved ones that you'll want to know about. And this one specifically on osteoarthritis and the most powerful treatment to date if anybody's dealing with joint-based pain as they're aging. All right, let's dive right into the show. Before we get started, I always want to share with you what's going on in the practice and also what you may have missed on the show. Before we dive into the previous show, I want to let you know that the Cabral Concept is now providing scholarship grants to potential IHP students. So if you've ever thought about becoming an integrative health practitioner or health coach, head on over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org or just ihp.coach for short. Fill out the submission to learn more or just email us and actually apply for a scholarship grant for those people that aren't able to afford the whole health coaching certification. We can now help you with that. I'm excited to bring that to you for this month. And again, feel free to contact the team. They handle all of that all together, and they're an amazing team. All right, what may have you missed on the Cabral Concept podcast this last week? Well, on Monday, we went over the 3 underrated moves for the mind and body, something I try to practice each and every day, at least Monday through Friday. It's been a game changer for me, my nervous system, my stress, and your sleep, and my sleep. I would check that show out. On Tuesday, we went over the 2 nutrients for cancer defense. This goes back to the guardian gene. I don't know why I can't say that word, guardian gene. And it is an incredible gene that when it becomes suppressed, well, they found that 50% of people with cancer, it's because of a suppressed P53 gene. Check out that show. It's only 2 nutrients, very inexpensive. I know that you'll be able to include those into your diet. All right, on Wednesday's show, we went over the new Candida Metabolic and Vitamins test. Pretty amazing, the new layout, so easy to read. And the summaries, everything's fantastic. I mean, the team just does such a great job. Just take a look at the new report. Take a look at the 75 plus biomarkers. You can learn about your gut, your mitochondria, ketone levels, neurotransmitter metabolites, vitamin levels, and so much more. It's phenomenal. And then yesterday we went over, should you get a colonoscopy this year? Big decision to make, right? Pros and cons. I go over all of that on yesterday's show. All these shows are at stephencabral.com/podcasts. All right, let's dive into today's show. It is our product review of the week. Right now, I have on my favorite blue light blocking glasses. These are my nighttime ones. So literally every night, probably an hour before bed, I pop these on. And I put these on. Yes, we use amber lights in my house. We turn down the LEDs, but inevitably, you're going to see some LEDs, some bright lights somewhere, whether it's a thermostat, whatever it might be. And these are phenomenal for getting me into a sleepy state so that I can fall asleep. Remember, I used to be a complete insomniac. Now I fall asleep within 20 minutes of my head hitting the pillow. It's unbelievable to even think about that. So what I want to do is take you through all the different types, and you can find these blue light blocking glasses anywhere. I'll link up my favorites today at stephencabral.com/3696, the ones that I'm actually wearing. So let's start with the yellow ones. Literally, I have a case here. If you're watching this on video, this is a Tupperware case. It's probably 8 inches by 16 inches, and it's all my blue light blocking glasses that I've accumulated over the years. Many of you know, I wore these for about 6 months when I had incredible eye strain. I was finishing my book, Personomics, and I had never experienced eye strain like that before. This got me through it, and I'm very thankful for that. So these are a little stronger. These are orange. I wouldn't recommend wearing these all the time. So here's what we do have. We've got the daytime blue light blockers, and they're yellow. They're very gentle lenses. And what do they block? They block 20 to 50% of the highest energy blue light waves. So these are the ones that you're using essentially for daytime computer work. you're using them for gaming, you're using them for mild eye strain, you're using them for fluorescent lights in an office or cubicle overhead, but they don't necessarily knock way down blue light. And that's a good thing because you actually want some blue light. You want a lot of blue light actually early in the morning, ideally from the sun. And then you want some, especially before 1 or 2 p.m., right? And then sun's at its highest peak around 12, 1 o'clock or so, and then it starts to set. And so anyway, these are phenomenal for daytime eye strain. They only block about 20 to 50%. All right, so then what about these next level? These are the orange lenses. We move from yellow to orange lenses. And if you're not watching a video, that's okay. This is now moderate blue light blocking. And I would say that it's better than moderate. It's blocking out 80 to 95% of blue light. So it's pretty fantastic. So let's say that, again, we don't watch much TV in my house, but let's say we were sitting down on Friday nights, my family, we actually sit down and watch a movie together. So these would be great for that time. A couple hours before bed, we're talking like 2 to 3 hours before bed when the sun is already set or the sun is setting, you pop these on. Now it's going to work with your circadian rhythm. It's going to block 80 to 95% of blue light, but still very easy to see with them because the next pair that you're going to see in a second, very difficult to see. Honestly, very difficult to see. These just make the screen that you're looking at look orange. I shared it about a month ago. I've got a red light screen on my device and night mode. So that's taken care of. But these are incredible, again, for helping for melatonin-based production, reducing cortisol, and improving overall sleep onset. 2 to 3 hours before bed, you can pop these on. Again, these are all fairly inexpensive. I'll link them up. They're all around $20, $29. All right, this next pair is not as inexpensive. These are red lenses. I'm going to put these on, and they make it more challenging to see. There's no doubt about it. Why? They block 100% of all blue light. They're literally wraparound so that they don't allow anything in. It can't be a regular pair of glasses. You're trying to block everything out. I've worn these on overnight flights multiple times. That's pretty much the only time I wear them, or when I'm not able to block out real blue light. Let's say a hotel room or whatever it might be, and you're trying to get ready an hour before bed and get into, especially if you're going East Coast to West Coast, etc. Here's what these red lenses also do. They block out most, if not all, of green light at the 500 to 550 nanometer wavelength. And so what they allow you to do now is really block cortisol and start to improve melatonin production. They're absolutely incredible, but very strong. Like you can't even read all that well with these red lenses, which is why I don't wear them that often, but I will wear them, as I said, for travel quite often and definitely on any overnight flight. So there you have it, quick summary. I'm going to take off these red lenses since they do actually strain your eyes in a weird way because you're trying to see with them. And I'm going to put back on my favorite ones, which are my orange ones. Those are my middle ones. If I've been looking at blue light for a long period of time, I'm recording this. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. And so these are nice that I can start to slide on towards the end of the day. So yellow lenses, they only block 20 to 50% of blue light. Great to wear for gaming or general computer use. Then orange, amber, 80 to 95% based on the blue light blocking lenses, and then red light 100%, and they're great to wear right before bed, 30 minutes or so, maybe an hour maximum. So hopefully that was helpful. These are all the different types of blue light blocking glasses that you can get. Just again, look for authentic ones that actually do what they say they're going to do. Hopefully that was helpful. All right, let's go over now our Personomics tip of the week. Here's what I want to share with you is that long before you get chronic disease, your body has already started to adapt, which ultimately creates the dis-ease in the first place. Like that's what we need to look at. So your body is incredibly adaptive. I learned this way back in the day when I was 17, 18 years old, becoming a personal trainer. And what I learned was this, is that when people couldn't do a bridge, so lying on your back, lifting your hips up, keeping your feet on the floor, when they couldn't do that with their glute muscles because their glutes and lower back were very weak, they would start to use their hamstrings. And then their hamstrings would start to lock up and cramp because they were overusing those muscles. Well, the body, instead of using the main muscle group, which would be your glutes and a little bit to the lower back, so the erector spinae in the lower back, gluteus minimus, maximus, medius for the glutes, they weren't firing properly because they were gotten weak from sitting for too long, decades, right? So by the time someone got to their like mid 40s or 50s, they then started to use their hamstrings, or even somehow they got into their quads and calves and they would cramp up. really good example of compensation. The body will find a way to compensate. It does the same exact thing with every other dis-ease process of the body. You don't end up with an autoimmune issue until you've overcompensated for an elevated immune system because of heavy metals, viral-based issues, poor foods, elevated levels of cytokines, leaky gut, like all sorts of issues. And then your immune system's like, listen, we've been elevated here for 6 months, a year, 3 years, and now we're starting to attack other parts of the body. Again, there's a lot more to it than that, of course, but those are just examples. So what I would say is this: there's always early signals. The bloating starts before the leaky gut, right? The skin itchiness starts before the eczema or the psoriasis. Look for the signals, listen to the signals, do not palliate them with medications. If you're on a medication, I'm not telling you to come off it. I'm telling you to then look for the underlying root cause, so then you can work with you figure out the underlying root cause, rebalance the body, and then you can begin to work with your physician to wean off the medication as able. So just again, that's a tip that is from my new book, Personomics, The End of All Disease. I truly believe we can end all disease if we follow the formula laid out for us. All right. Research study number 1. This is it. This is a big one. And again, I did a previous podcast on all the different reasons, like how aspirin might be helpful, different protocols that may work or may not work. But I'm always trying to bring you the latest and greatest research. This literally came out 1 day ago. Okay. So this was 10 randomized control studies that were looked at. 124,837 participants, talking about millions of people using and being prescribed, essentially, aspirin to prevent colon cancer. Well, here's what I want to share with you. Major review out of Cochrane, and this is what it said. Daily aspirin does not reliably prevent bowel cancer in people at average risk, according to a major new review. Any potential protective effect may take more than a decade to appear, if it appears at all. And the evidence for the benefit is weak. In contrast, the risk of serious bleeding begins right away, even with low-dose aspirin, which is about like that 80 milligrams or so. Experts warn that prevention decisions should be individualized and not automatic. And I think that that's really good to say, because some people might still want to use it, but then they should be very careful to make sure that there's not internal bleeding. I mean, and there's organ-based bleeding as well. There's intestinal bleeding. So all of these things are important to look at that. Again, really not a lot of benefit, if any, was seen for the first 5 to 15 years. And then after that, it's a little dubious whether there's any effect at all 10 to 15 years later. So I wanted you to understand that if you were just given recommendation to take an aspirin to prevent colon cancer, maybe think twice. Doesn't mean not to do it, but think twice. See if it is really beneficial for you, or if this is just a blanket statement, non-evidence-based recommendation from your PCP. So, okay, just wanted to share that with you. What you do with it is up to you, but you should have the information, right? Because internal bleeding is a real thing with aspirin, same with ulcers, etc. Okay, so this next one is really powerful. Millions with joint pain and osteoarthritis are missing the most powerful treatment. I didn't say it. I'm reading you literally verbatim. So millions of people deal with aching joints, and the best medicine may not be surgery. And I want to share with you right now. Literally, I'm going to link up all of this. So if you always want to go deeper, love you to do that. Head on over to stephencabral.com/3696. I'll link up the favorite blue blockers there, and I will link up these research studies. Okay, so stiff knees and aching hips may seem like an inevitable part of aging, but experts say we're getting osteoarthritis all wrong. Despite affecting nearly 600 million people worldwide, and by the way, that's a super low estimate with 8 billion people in the world, and potentially 1 billion people by 2050, the most powerful treatment isn't surgery or medication. It's exercise. Movement nourishes cartilage, strengthens muscles, reduces inflammation, and even reshapes the biological processes driving joint damage. A little bit more I want to read you. Exercise is widely recognized as one of the most effective treatments for long-term joint conditions such as osteoarthritis. Studies from Ireland, the UK, and Norway, and the US reveal a consistent pattern. Fewer than half of people diagnosed with osteoarthritis are referred to exercise programs or physical therapy by their primary care provider. More than 60% receive treatments that clinical guidelines do not recommend, and about 40% are referred to a surgeon before non-surgical options have been properly explored. Regular physical activity does more than ease symptoms. It can biologically and physically lower the risk of developing osteoarthritis and reduces its severity. Cartilage, the smooth tissue that cushions the ends of the bones, does not have its own blood supply. It depends on the movement to stay healthy. When you walk or put weight on a joint, cartilage is gently compressed, pushing fluid out. When the pressure is released, it draws fluid back in, bringing nutrients and natural lubricants with it. Each step helps nourish and maintain the joint. This is why describing osteoarthritis as simply wear and tear is misleading. Joints are not like tires that inevitably break down over time. Instead, osteoarthritis is better understood as a long process of breakdown and repair. Regular movement plays a central role in supporting and healing, maintaining the health of the entire joint. There you have it. Literally, I could not have said it better, which is why I quoted it verbatim. What I do want to share with you, it also goes back to my early days in my late teens and early 20s doing personal training. I had a client, 82 years old. His name was Walter. I'll never forget him. He was a great guy. And he came down 2 osteoarthritic knees. Literally could not walk. Could not walk. He came down to do a 30. So when I said came down, he literally lived in the hotel above the gym that I worked at. He came down and he did a 30-minute workout with me every day, Monday through Friday. Great guy. Here's what we did. All we did, because he could not walk when he walked into the gym, hobbling the whole time. Here's what we did. We got on literally a recumbent exercise bike. I'm not saying it's phenomenal, but that got him moving. We did that for literally 12 to 15 minutes. Now he had blood flow in his legs and joints. After that, we did some very simple exercises to create this compression. Very low step ups on one leg, stabilizing. We didn't do anything difficult. We squatted down to an appropriate distance for him towards the floor, and he stood back up. Couple other movements, literally ankle circles. We did some mobility-based work. And by the end of that 30 minutes, he would just literally say to me, Steve, I don't know what it is that you're doing. He said, I never feel better after our workouts. And that's why he came down every day, because then it would get him 3 to 4 hours of pain relief, because besides that, he was in excruciating pain. Was I giving him anything phenomenal? No. Like, the exercise I was giving him were really basic, and I was only 22 years old or so. I didn't even have that much knowledge at the time. But of course, I always do my best for my clients. And so I would always be learning and always be sharing with him. And he felt great. And so anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Like, this works. And it doesn't make sense because you're in pain. And then you're like, why would I go exercise when I'm in pain? Here's why. This literally shares it with you. Low and slow. Don't overdo it. Just a few minutes, work your way up. But hopefully this was helpful. As always, everybody, all the show notes will be at stephencabral.com/3696. Do feel free to share the show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care.